I stand here to fully support the motion. First of all, it's not true that this is an ambush. I know we have a government paper. One of the headlines, and you can go to records, this matter was in the public domain, that Uganda is being requested to contribute to an international stabilization force as had been resolved in the United Nations with a resolution which was being cited in the motion. This is an international stabilization force where various countries will contribute contingents. It is really very surprising that anybody would be feeling unhonored that your country, working with superpowers, is being requested to participate in such an honorable cause for peace and humanitarian cause. It's quite surprising. As for the doctrine of participation in military operations, the army is trained not to be in a dancing hall. The army is trained to defend humanity, defend territories against any levels of threats. So if you are saying UPDF is incapable of confronting any threats, test what we found in Mogadishu when a big force from a superpower had failed to contain the situation in Somalia. The first contingent which entered Mogadishu, which is an urban center, in a worse situation than what actually now is happening in Gaza Strip, should be enough testimony not to doubt the capability and the capacity of your force. You should be very, very proud as Ugandans that Uganda People's Defense Forces is viewed as the anchor of stability in a sea of turbulence regionally and now globally. I know some of you may be worried. How come it is the President of the United States that is inviting and proposing that this international stabilization force should involve UPDF? Some of us may know why the shock, but that's beside the point. The doctrine of the forces is that we don't go to dance, we go to confront threats against society, against humanity.
For our Uganda People's Defense Forces to go for peacekeeping missions, Mr. Speaker, I have an issue with our forces being in quite a number of countries: Central African Republic, DRC Congo, Somalia, Sudan, mention it. And now we are about to dispatch another contingent to Gaza Strip. Mr. Speaker, under normal procedure would be required as the legislature to know the performance of our missions, peacekeeping missions in these countries, and then would be able to assess and determine whether surely we are doing very well to release another force to a very risky, high-risk region like the Gaza Strip. The Speaker, because this is in the Gaza Strip, unlike these other countries I've mentioned, it is urban warfare, and it becomes very difficult to distinguish between combatants and civilians, and therefore the risk of ambushes is extremely high. And I would want to, as a Parliament of Uganda, to be as protective to our forces as much as possible, Mr. Speaker.
I wanted to add one point, that Honorable Speaker, Uganda has submitted the name of a Ugandan to the UN seeking that he becomes the Secretary General of the United Nations. It will be direct shooting in our own legs to say that Uganda should not participate in United Nations deployment. Besides, Uganda is a member of this nation and a member of the community of nations that is required to participate in such missions that include bringing peace. We all know that the situation in Gaza is not good. It's despicable when you see how people are living. We cannot be in this house as members of the representatives of the rest of Ugandans who would want to live in a peaceful country, not to support the deployment of the UPDF to go and help members of the community that live in the Gaza Strip to have at least some semblance of peace and live normal lives like we do in our country.
Uganda shall actively participate in international and regional organizations that stand for peace and for well-being and progress of humanity. Additionally, Uganda has a strong army with capable organizational structures which has enabled Uganda to successfully support peace operations, notably AMISOM, now AWSOM, South Sudan, Central African Republic, and various United Nations peacekeeping missions in order to enhance international peace and security. 3, Uganda's participation as part of the International Stabilization Force will aid in preventing further conflict in the region, thus contributing to broader international security by reducing risks of renewed armed conflict between Israel and Palestine, preventing extremist groups from exploiting instability and sabotage the ceasefire implementation process. Uganda's participation will enhance monitoring of compliance, supervise implementation of security arrangements, assist in demobilization and support the return to normalcy of the otherwise unpleasant situation obtaining currently. Uganda's participation as part of the International Stabilization Force will guarantee an ample opportunity for antagonizing sides to plan for ushering in peace in the Gaza Strip. 6, Uganda's participation in the International Stabilization Force will contribute to elimination of terrorist cells that have greatly contributed to international terrorism, that have in the past used the Gaza Strip as a base of operations due to the ongoing conflict. Firmly committed that throughout the period of deployment, the Uganda People's Defense Forces will remain neutral, comply with international humanitarian law, protect civilians without taking sides in political disputes, and operate under clearly defined rules of engagement. Now, therefore, be it resolved by this Parliament as follows. We seek the resolution of Parliament that Parliament supports the decision of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, to deploy the Uganda People's Defense Forces in the Gaza Strip for a peacekeeping mission in accordance with the Constitution of Uganda and Section 38 of Uganda People's Defense Forces Act.